Hello, and welcome to the Energy Connect studio at ADIPEC 2023. I'm delighted I'm sitting next to me in the studio, Javier Doblas, partner at Boston Consulting Group. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for inviting me.
What is your outlook for the hydrogen market until 2050?
The hydrogen market is already an established industry. We are consuming around the world around 90 million tons of hydrogen globally, but in a few applications like ammonia production, methanol production, and in refining. In terms of outlook, so at BCG, hydrogen is the core focus of what we do, and we believe the following elements. So first, in terms of size, we believe the market will more than increase by 4 to 5 times compared to today, reaching around 350 to 500 million tons per annum compared to the 90 million tons today. In terms of color, today it's mostly gray hydrogen, so from unabated fossil fuels, and that will be little by little replaced by blue and green hydrogen, so low carbon hydrogen. In terms of form, it's not going to be just hydrogen. It's going to be roughly 50% hydrogen. The rest will be in the form of derivatives like ammonia, methanol, or synthetic fuels. Market size, in terms of value pool, we're probably looking at $600 billion to $1 trillion. And out of all these volumes, roughly 20% we expect will be traded internationally. The rest consumed locally or regionally.
How is hydrogen going to play a part in meeting these net zero targets?
In the end, the challenge is clear. We need to replace fossil fuels, right? And we need to replace them with renewable energy. However, renewable electricity will not be sufficient to meet the energy needs of all the industries, but in particular the heavy ones, shipping, aviation, and green steel. And this is where hydrogen and the low carbon fuels, its derivatives, come into play. The first thing that we need to do is first replace the currently used gray hydrogen in the existing use cases, ammonia production, methanol production, and in refining by low carbon hydrogen. And then we move into the new use cases, green steel. So a hydrogen there plays the role of a reducing agent. In aviation with synthetic fuels, in shipping with ammonia and methanol, and then in the power sector for long-term storage once we have a very high penetration of renewables. And overall, we expect that hydrogen will need to represent roughly 12% of global energy demand and will support reducing emissions of around 6% cumulatively until 2050.
How and what is needed for it to get to that 12% to grow?
So there's a lot of hype around hydrogen. Many projects have been announced globally. So we have a pipeline of more than 1,000 projects representing a cumulative production capacity of almost 40 million tons by 2030. However, all those projects are still in relatively early stages. Only 4% have reached FID, final investment decision, or are under construction. And as BCG, we believe that it will take an ecosystem to grow the hydrogen industry. So we will need combined and coordinated action by a number of stakeholders. For instance, first governments. Governments need to define hydrogen strategies and translate those strategies into policies and regulation. Then we'll have the developers, the producers. They cannot do it alone. They will need to form consortia to bring all the skills along the value chain, and ideally also involve the off-takers. So the potential end users need to be part of the consortia. That's a way to de-risk the projects to secure the off-take. We also need the capital providers, so the banks. They need to adapt their financing frameworks, to adapt them to hydrogen. It's riskier. You cannot request the same risk mitigation actions as for renewables. So you need to adapt that as well. And then technology providers and infrastructure providers. In particular, if we're going to be trading hydrogen, we need the port infrastructure. We need the logistics infrastructure. So really action from all the stakeholders.
In the sense of collaboration or bringing from the policy side, the investment side, and the technology side to sort of move things forward. Shows like ADIPEC, which have a big hydrogen focus, I mean, it's a decarbonisation is a theme this year. How important is shows like this to sort of highlight the need for more collaboration?
I mean, ADIPEC is a perfect venue because you have all the players along the value chain sitting next to each other, and this is where many potential partnerships can be formed. So yeah, these type of events are critical.
Just around the corner is COP28, and what's the importance or the focus you think will be on hydrogen at COP28?
COP28, very important event for the global decarbonization, and as highlighted by Dr. Sultan Al-Jaber, so COP28 president, hydrogen is a key priority. It's one of the 3 targets that were mentioned, and the target is we need to double hydrogen production capacity. So yes, will be a big focus at COP.
I really appreciate you coming down to the Energy Connect.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for watching, and I look forward to bringing more studio interviews from the show floor in the coming days.